Hello, welcome to NOLAstamping. This month we are going to be playing around with Irresistible's paper, which I love. It is so much fun. It looks like white when you're looking at it, but it's got like some like raised UV embossing on it already. So then you can play around and do so many different like ink techniques that really just plays around with that embossing that's already on there, which is what we're doing today. So we're just going to cut a piece that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inch. And then I'm using a little bit of just like rubbing alcohol, like just household rubbing alcohol. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my ink pad and just grab some of the ink along the side using the rubbing alcohol. And it's just like a little paper towel that I'm using. And I'm just going to spread that ink around the top. And then I'm going to grab, so I'm using Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. So the darker color is Mossy Meadow. And then I'm going to use Old Olive. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to grab some household rubbing alcohol and a different paper towel. And I'm just going to rub that ink like all over my little piece of paper. It just sort of blends the inks, the two different colored inks together. You could also use a blending brush, and like a blending brush works great on the Irresistibles. You can use your markers, the Stampin' Up markers, you can swipe your ink across it. The alcohol just sort of mimics an alcohol marker. So like that's why this is kind of a fun technique, because I want it to look kind of like leafy and foliagey. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a water marker, and I'm just doing splotches all over that paper. Just because like with the alcohol that on the ink, the water drops will just sort of really stand out a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry and cut the card base. So I'm going to use some crumb cake, and I'm just cutting a piece that is 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches. And then we're going to go ahead and score it at 4 1/4, creating a A2 card size. So that's just like normal. And since this is a two-tone paper, crumb cake is a little bit darker, so I just wanted to have like a signature panel for the inside of the card. So I'm just cutting a piece of white cardstock paper that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And so then we'll use that for the interior. And then I'm going to use some vellum on this and we're going to go ahead and use the embossing folder with the 3D sunflowers that just came out. It's like an online exclusive, and it's pretty fantastic. I really like it. So this technique is going to use vellum. I had some vellum left over from Close to My Heart, so that's what I'm using. And I just cut a 12 by 12 piece into 2 6-inch pieces, and I ran it through, if you're smart with your cuts, you can do it in one piece of paper or one piece of vellum, but since I had the two, I figured I'd just use both of them, because I think that it came out looking lovely, and I will use that vellum on lots of things. Okay, so let's get to stamping. So we need to stamp the interior sentiment. So I'm going to do a little kindness makes a big difference on the interior. And then for the outside of the card, I wanted to do a little strip that says thank you. So we're going to use Old Olive for the ink, and use that to stamp both of them, because that'll tie back in with the Irresistibles paper, which should be just about dry by now. So let's go ahead and grab that, and we're going to go ahead and grab the Arches nesting dies, which came out earlier this year. If you didn't manage to get those previously, they are on the clearance section, I believe, last time I looked. which I was looking at because I have lost one of my arches. But I am sure it's somewhere in my craft room. I just need to find it. But so we took one of the middle sets of arches, and we're going to cut out from the Irresistibles the exact center of that arch. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the vellum, and I just sort of played around and looked at how it would look with the sunflower in the center of that arch. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that piece, I think. And since it won't show because we're going to attach it to the back of the Irresistibles paper, I'm just using a pencil to mark where I want to cut the vellum. I don't want any showing underneath the frame, so I can just cut it straight down off of the marks. And so vellum has a problem in that, if you use most adhesives, it really shows up, where the adhesive is. So this is a fun technique that just hides the adhesive because we've made a nice little Irresistibles frame around it. So I'm using some liquid adhesive, and I'm going to put it down, put that frame over the sunflower, the embossed sunflower from Vellum. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put a couple of acrylic blocks on it and set it aside to dry. It usually doesn't take that long. So here's the thing. And so there's the arch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next size up arch, and I'm going to put some washi tape on the back side of it. So the opposite side that you would normally think of. And I'm just sort of spacing it around that window. And I'm going to put the frame on the inside because we need to cut out that arch from the card base, and I want everything just sort of lined up perfectly. So you can just sort of push that washi tape, and that way you don't have to do a lot of measuring, and you know that it'll come out perfectly. And since it's the next size up, it'll actually cut a little bit more than that arch for the front. So it doesn't matter if it lines up exactly. It'll just be, it'll be within a little bit. So it's a lot easier than doing some math and figuring out, the different sizes from the sides. So I went ahead and cut that out with the die cutting machine, and then the two pieces, the crumb cake and the Irresistible centerpiece, we could just set aside. I'll show you in a little bit what I did with those extra little pieces. But we're going to use some liquid adhesive here and attach the frame to the card front. And go ahead and use the acrylic blocks or a little bit of weight and let it dry for a couple of minutes, just because the vellum sometimes takes a little bit longer. So I'm going to trim up my thank you sentiment for the front of the card. And, I stamped it in the center, but that we'll figure that out when we get to the card front. So let's go ahead and grab the card base, and you can see I'm just grabbing the liquid adhesive because it's on my desk, and I'm just going to pop in that interior panel with the sentiment, and it does shine through a little bit, which is kind of cool because it gives it just a little bit of fuzziness through the card front. But once the card front is open, you don't really see it that much. So as I was saying, the strip, I feel like it would look better off to one side. So I'm going to dovetail the left-hand side instead of the right side. And then I was like, oh, I really want to use, there's this gold mesh ribbon that came out in January. And so I've been using that up, and I think that would just look really great with this because It's really sort of earthreal, and you know, it's playing with a lot of the textures and the see-throughness. So I thought that would just look really great on that card. Another ribbon that just came out is that green and gold ribbon, but I think that this ribbon will look a little bit better. So I'm just going to put some tear and tape on the back of that strip, and then I'm going to just weave that open mesh ribbon back and forth across the tear and tape, and that'll just keep everything sort of in place. And then once I get to the end, I'll just have it attached to that. And then I'm going to put another layer of tear and tape that'll just sort of keep everything sort of in place on that strip. So then when we attach it to the card base, it'll just sort of pull everything together. And you may want to put, I ended up putting a dimensional on the right hand side of that strip, just to keep it together on the card base, but I didn't get a chance to show that in the video. But now it's time to embellish the card. So I'm using some of the new online dots. They're called low profile sparkle dots, but I like that green with this card. I think it just kind of all comes together. So I wanted to show you really quick what I'm doing with the leftovers. I'm making a whole nother card. So I grabbed a white card base, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I just sort of smushed the glue all over the back of the vellum, because that way the adhesive won't show. And then I just sort of set it on the card front. And then I'm just going to go ahead and grab those two pieces, and I'm going to and the open mesh ribbon. And I found I have a bunch of those multi-sentiments. I love being able to just grab those in a pinch and make like a super simple card. So I'm just doing the same thing as we did with that sentiment strip. I am going to use some tear and tape around the back of those arches, and we're just going to go ahead and again put that ribbon right around it, and then cut it off, and put some tear and tape on that congratulations sentiment and attach that to the card front. And so here is the card. Both of them I think are just showstopper of cards, and I love those, that being able to use that Irresistibles paper. It's fun to make, and I think it comes out looking so neat and elegant. So I think that's a nice little thing, and that sunflower embossing folder really is my favorite. So, well, thanks for making this card along with me. I hope you made it or made it your own, and don't forget to stay crafty.